Welcome to Getting Started, a beginner's guide to working on a client's file. Now, we're going to go through this. We're going to be moving quickly because there's a lot to get through. Now, I will let you know that wherever the delivery of this file was, you will also find the links to the credit reports I'm going to show you, as well as the other presentations, because I'm putting them all into one video. And I also just found an error in one of my, well, not an error, but in one of my images. So please disregard um, this right here. As you can see, it says premium, and I had already changed it, but it didn't save, so my bad. Anywho, my name is Kristen. I'm sure you already know who I am. Otherwise, you would not have purchased this. You can chat with me at any time, or you can drop me a message and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can at drift.me/expert credit sweeps. And you can also check out the website at expertcreditsweeps.com. You can schedule a call with me if you would like me to take over your file or one of your client files by going to expertcreditsweeps.com/book online. And then, of course, you can just very simply send me an email, Kristen at expertcreditsweeps.com. All right, so jumping into this, we are going to be going over this because I've put together a compilation of information that I feel is required to processing or to the process of doing someone's credit file. So you may look at this as sort of like a crash course versus a full-blown A through Z course. If you're looking for my A through Z course, you can find that at services.vargasconsultingworks.com. So by the end of this, you will know the beginning steps of, that's supposed to say starting a client's credit file, as well as, and you'll also know the systems that should be used to keep track of, organize, and maintain their credit file. Okay, so this is basically a three-step process. This is everything that it comes down to. So the first step is setting up the client's file. You should have a file on your device, your local storage on your computer, their file in your CRM, and their contract identification and identity IQ login. And we'll get into all that later. The second step is creating your disputes. Create the disputes, send them, produce progress reports, new disputes, rinse, and repeat. Sounds simple enough? That's because it is. You'll want to, and this is step number 3, create an action plan for each client with their items. So, for example, if one of their accounts still remains at 12 months, there should be a plan for their score and for building out their credit files. And here are the requirements. Now, you can add in whatever you want to, but these are the actual requirements for the file. So there are some items that you are required to collect from each client. You may collect these manually or via automation by using software, but each of these are required to process their credit file. So the first one is the contract, and each company that offers financial services is required under law to provide a contract, okay, whether that's digital or manual. Personal information, you'll need their name, date of birth, email, address, phone number, and social. Identity IQ. Now, Identity IQ credit monitoring is the service that I recommend for each and every client, and this is where you will access their credit reports and their scores. And unfortunately, my shape right there on the bottom right is on top of my text instead of underneath it. So I apologize, but underneath it says each and scores, okay? And then identification. You need copies of ID, SSN, and proof of address. Now, not just SSN number. You need the actual proof with the full number on it. So SSN card, W-2, W-9, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so here's the timeline. So they sign up, and this is the date that we will call day 1. Your analysis should begin on day 4 because they have 3 days to cancel with you and get their money back. So why would you put any work in between days 1 and 3? The day that you send out round 1 should be no later than 2 weeks after they sign up. And you might be thinking, well, geez, why is it so long? Well, when I first started, I actually sent out their letters in 2 to 3 days. That was when I only had maybe 10 clients. Then I had 50. Then I had 100. Then I had 200. Then I had 300. Then I had 400. And then I had 500, etc., etc. Okay. So it's just not possible. It is not possible. If you are doing this the right way, it is not possible to be putting in all that time and energy and throwing out files unless you are using an automated process such as templates, and you are not going to be doing that. All right, so round two. Now, round one update, round two should be approximately 45 days after round one went out. And then round three should be about 35 days after round two went out. Okay, so here's my recommendation. And this didn't let me put the links on here, so I literally put the long link. These are the two sites that I recommend using for credit monitoring. Identity IQ, which is what I have all of my clients use, and you can use this link here to get it at a discounted rate. So instead of paying $30, you're only paying 22, or your client is. All you have to do is copy and paste this to your browser. Now, as a backup, you can use Smart Credit, but I have found that it can get a little bit convoluted. I believe it costs more, and it doesn't show as much information as Identity IQ. Okay, so the analysis. If you don't know how to read a credit report, or you're not comfortable with it, I recommend using a service that extracts the information for you, such as Client Dispute Manager. It'll actually give you a 15 to 20 page report that breaks everything down and highlights all the inaccuracies. All right, so you'll want to use or create a CRM to track and organize your client files, and here are a few options. As I already mentioned, Client Dispute Manager, I recommend those for using their analyzer, the ultimate software app, which is mine. And this app will track everything for you and will allow you to create and manage all of your disputes as a CRM, email, et cetera, et cetera. It's 100% customizable, and it's better than the Client Dispute Manager. However, it does not allow you to import credit reports. So you can, analyze it if you're not doing it manually with Client Dispute Manager, and then you can input the information into the ultimate software app. If you're interested in that, very simply send me an email and I will provide some information on that. Now, you can also use a dispute tracker. I do have a video on creating a dispute tracker for you, and you can find that on YouTube. I'm not going to point you in the right direction on that because it is free. Go find it. If you're looking for simplicity, this is a great app that only tracks what was sent, whom it was sent for, and when it was again due. And then another option is to very simply create a local folder on your computer, and name it for the client, put all their files in there, and then use a free task manager such as Nirvana to track when the file is due again. It'll literally show up in red and say, John Doe's file is due. All right, and now we're looking at templates versus factual disputes. Okay, so on the left we have templates, and on the right we have factual disputes. So with templates, they cannot beat the computer, right? Because you have to understand that the computer that reads the letter is reading it to determine if it's a template. And if it is, you automatically lose. It's verified, right? So no universal use. Templates are for specific usage and are not to win the entire case or file. Think motion versus case. No facts to back it up. So saying something is unverified does not state the legal reason based on facts reported as to why it needs to be removed. Now, however, if we look at factual disputes, it passes every time. So it's not a template, and therefore it passes the computer every time that's reading it. They're unique and to the point. Each letter is written at the time of creation, right then, while you're working on the client's file, and states the exact reason for writing, what needs to be disputed, why, and what the outcome should be. And it's based on facts. That's the part that's so important with this, that the credit report states everything needed to win a dispute. Using facts wins each time because it is irrefutable information. They can't fight it, right? So an example dispute reason chart would look like this. So you want to check out these example disputes for 5 item types and 3 rounds of disputes. So going down on the left in the first column, we have charge off, then student loan, then late payment, then bankruptcy, then collection. Going across, we have round 1, round 2, and round 3. All right. So this is very, very simple. If you look at the first row underneath type and round, for charge off, round 1 would be data loss activity. Round 2 would be data loss payment, and round 3 would be notice of dispute. For a student loan, it would be first date of delinquency. Round 2 is 90-day, meaning that Navient is notorious for putting 90 days late with no prior late payments. Round 3 would be notice of dispute. For a late payment, if you're trying to remove the late payments to update the account, it would be first late payment that you dispute, then second late payment, and then they need to prove using bank statements belonging to the actual company that you were late on the date that they're stating that you were late. And obviously, they're never going to do that. For a bankruptcy, it would be the court name, then the filing date, and then independent investigation. For a collection such as medical or apartments, it's going to be unknown, then proof of ownership, and then notice of dispute. All right. And then what you should do now. All right. So, because you ordered this, I'll be sending you more information via email to help you on your way to winning disputes with the credit bureaus. So, you want to stay tuned, subscribe to YouTube, follow me on Facebook, and we are at the end of this. However, we are going over now to looking at a credit report. So, we have 3 different credit reports. They're all recent, all May. Let's just go check out this other one. This one is 422, and this one's older. I pulled them so that you can see. So no, they're not all May. I meant the first one's May, so that you can see different types of files. So we're gonna look at the first one. I did redact account numbers and client information. Okay, so you can obviously see their scores right here, and they have two delinquencies, two delinquencies, two delinquencies, seven derogatories, eight derogatories, nine derogatories, two collections, one collection, zero collections. And they have a lot of debt, right? They have a lot of balances and a lot of payments. So this is what you're looking for. If you don't know, this is an Identity IQ credit report, and I'm going to show you a couple of things that you should be looking for when you do your analysis. Now, as I mentioned, you can use something such as Client Dispute Manager that actually does the analysis for you. So you can save hours and hours and hours and hours, depending how many clients you actually have that are processing, just by using automation. Okay. So you're looking for, um, you have to actually know the law behind it, because just looking for inaccuracies is not going to do anything for you. So I will not be pointing out inaccuracies. I'm going to point out the things that are actually going to remove the derogatory information. So let's go find some negative accounts. All right, so right here you see we have 30 days, 30 days, 30 days, 60 days, 60 days, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30. Okay, so we have nothing to compare this to, right? We only have one bureau. Now, if we look at data last payment, 2/3/17. So if we go back to 2/3/17, we're in 2017 right here. Okay, so this doesn't make any sense because Experian says 2/3/17 was the last payment, but as you can see, it actually shows that December 2017 was the last payment. So that doesn't make any sense. This can be disputed, and you're going to want to remove this entire thing. All right. It also shows that it's late 30 days, but I mean, how can you technically be consistently late every single month unless you're paying and you're also late? So your best dispute reason on this is going to be data last payment. Excuse me, because obviously it was not the data last payment. Okay, so I do not recommend disputing child support. You're going to waste 3 years of your life, and I mean, it's not ethical for you to be charging your client for 3 years. No, that's just what it is. So we're going to pretend that this is not child support, just so that I can point out what you are actually going to dispute on this. So if this were a credit card, we would only be wanting to remove the late payments. So you would go to September 2018 and you would say, I was never late. Update this for inaccuracy. But you're also going to look right here where it says open, paid, and open under the account status. And right below that, we have monthly payment, $895. Okay, which one is it? Well, the truth is that this account is closed, it is not open, and there's no longer a monthly payment. So this can actually be used to remove the entire account. Okay, so American Credit Acceptance, this one is late. The only one that's showing is going to be Experian. So you're just very simply going to state, I was not late on X date. In this example, it would be March 2020. As you can see, the credit report still states that this person is late. They are currently late. That is how you remove the late payment. And then same thing right here with credit acceptance. So let's move on. Okay, this account is one that you're actually going to want to delete. As you can see, there's all of these excuse me, all of these 120-day late payments. It's not possible to remove 120-day late payments. Right here where it says monthly payment, it is a closed account. There should not be a monthly payment, and therefore it needs to be removed. However, if you look at date last active, you're going to see 9/4/18, 9/1/18, and 7/1/18. Those are obviously not the same. This account needs to be removed. All right, so let's go down and find some more. Okay, we are on USA Service. All right. So as you can see, there's no monthly payment. That's good. The balance is the same. Past due is the same. And yes, if the account is not paid, there will be a balance. I don't care what anybody says. Um, just because something is charged off does not mean you no longer owe it. Otherwise, everybody would run up their credit cards and they wouldn't pay them, right? If you don't believe me, then just stop paying your bills and tell it to the judge. So on this one, we would dispute date last active to get this removed, 9/30/19 versus 7/1/2016, which of course means that this account was it was re-aged illegally. All right. You can also see that it's missing the date of last payment on TransUnion, but that's not enough to get the account removed because even though the FCRA states that something that's incomplete can be removed, it's not under the Metro 2 format, and that's what the bureaus go based off of, and they created it themselves. They state that it has to be inaccurate for it to be removed. So you're not going to be disputing anything that is just very simply incomplete or unverified. Now, if you look at this one, the way that you would remove it is because there's a ton of activity after the account was closed. And you know that it's closed because not only does it say that it's closed, but it's a charge off, which obviously means that it is closed. Okay. So as you can see right here, it says charge off, 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 charge off. That's what we're going to be disputing. So everything after January 19, we don't know what happened before this. Is going to be disputed as activity after the account was closed. You can also see that there's a difference in the high balance. You can also see that the date last active is wrong. And you can also see that date last payment was wrong. So we have 2016 over here and we have 2020 over here. So you actually have a lot to work with this account, and that's Pentagon. So let's keep on going. So this one's going to be the same, and it's Continental Finance, I believe. We have a ton of activity after the account was closed. We have 2 different years in the date last active. We have 2 different months in the date last paid, and we have the same balance going across, but we have a different high balance. So you have a lot to work with here, but I would go with either date last active or I would go with the activity after the account was closed. On this one, to remove it, I would go with the 2 different years in the date last active, which are 2019 and 2018. Then, if nothing changed on this account, I would actually go to the payment history. We have 2 things we can do. We can either dispute May 2018, which is the first late payment that we're seeing, or you can do the activity after the account was closed. And then we have a regular collection. This one would be disputed as unknown, very simply as unknown. This is a different type of collection. We're looking at a debt buyer. And with a debt buyer, we are going to use, let's just say date last active, because we don't have that much to deal with on this. There's no late payments, so I can't dispute that. There's no past due, can't dispute that. So we're very simply going to state that they have the wrong date last active and it needs to be removed. Alternately, you can go after the balance, but because I don't have any information on that, I'm going to very simply go after something that is more than likely correct. Okay, this one on the U.S. Department of Education, it's going to be the activity after the account was closed. And you can also see that there's 2 different years, literally by 1 year, 2/1, 2/1, 2019, 2018. That would get this removed. And yes, you definitely have to dispute these things multiple times. This is a process. If you're watching this during the pandemic, you have to understand that it is a pandemic. That means that things are moving slowly. Just because they're moving slowly doesn't mean that it's, not moving. It means that you got to work your ass off. You got to do everything possible for your client, and you have to know what you're doing. And if you're sending in templates, you're doing the wrong thing. All right, on this one, the GRNTE, granite something. This one says transferred. We have a zero balance. We have a different, 2 different years in the date last active. I would go after that, or you can go after the fact that it has okay, 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 90. That's just not possible. Okay, 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 90. It's supposed to be 30, 60, 90, 120. Also, you see that January 2018 says okay on TransUnion. However, down on Equifax, it says 90 days late. All right, on credit one, we don't have activity after the close date. However, we have 3 different months in the date last active. We have 2 different months in the date last paid. And we, let's see, 913. I wouldn't go after the high balance on this. That's a stupid reason. So I would go after either payment history. As you can see, it's completely jacked up with the 30, 30, 30, okay, 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 or the date last active. And we are on LVNV. It should not state that it's charge off, charge off, charge off, charge off, charge off. There should be no late payments or activity in the payment history. And there should not be a past due yet. There's a past due of $913. Pioneer is good. And TXU Energy, which is actually pretty difficult to remove, I would go after the date last active, and there's 2 different years. And these are all the inquiries. This person has a crap ton of inquiries. You should probably go and check out my free inquiry webinar on how to remove inquiries. Now, on the second report, once again, redacted information, we have quite a few negative items on here. Let's go find the first one. First one is actually going to be this one, and we don't have much to go off of, so we're going to guess that the date last active is incorrect. On this one, it would be the activity after the account has been closed. We also have different amounts in the high balance. We have 16,000 versus 1,000. We also have 3 different years, 18, 19, and 17. This one is a collection. We would dispute it as unknown with the bureaus. Collection, unknown with the bureaus, unknown with the bureaus. We have a debt buyer, and we have 2 different years. They're different by 3 years. You're going to dispute the data loss activity on that. This is a collection with the bureaus, disputed as unknown. This one needs to be removed very simply because it just says original creditor, and according to the FCRA, there must be an actual name of the creditor with a conspicuous address listed so that this account can be identified for removal in a dispute. Okay, so if this person doesn't have that many inquiries, I would not dispute them. And then this is all creditor information. So let's go and look at the third report, and I'm going to go and get rid of these other 2. Okay, so once again, client information redacted, account numbers redacted. Let's go find our first negative item, and that is going to be NMAC. Okay, so as you can see, we have 2014 versus 2017 in the date last active. We also have a ton of payments, activity after the account was closed. So I would either go after date last active or the payments, or lack thereof in the payment history. So Equifax is saying that there are payments, while Experian is basically stating that there's charge off, charge off, charge off, charge off, charge off. Now you could do the same thing with Pentagon here. There's activity after the account was closed. There's also 2 different years in the date last active, and they are off by 4 years. So do date last active and then the payment history. Now you can also see that there's a little bit of a discrepancy in the high balance, but I wouldn't go after that. Pentagon, once again, you're going to want to go after the date last active or the payment history. Then Convergent, and Convergent is a unknown collection. Security credit is a debt buyer collection. So we're actually going to go after date last active. We have 2019 versus 2018. This is an unknown collection. At Astra, I would go after the date last active. We had 2 different years. Credit acceptance, I would go after the first date of delinquency or the date last active, or a monthly payment. So actually, let's revise that. We're going to do monthly payment on a closed account. So $697, $607 on a closed account. There should be no monthly payment because the account is closed and it's ruining the utilization. And it's also, or excuse me, the debt to income. And then you can also see that there's payments, activity in the payment history after the account was closed. Same on this one for U.S. Department of Education. I would also go after the date last active. And remember, you're only using one dispute reason. It has to be your biggest ammo, and I just gave you the biggest ammo for each of these. On this one, I would go after the fact that there's two things saying charge off in the payment history. All right, and that is it for the credit reports. Now, I am actually going to show you a couple of things. So this is the dispute reason creator. So you can create virtually any dispute reason simply by plugging in the information on this. So this is actually, I'm not going to go through this entire thing because you will have the links to access this, but it's going to show you how to create your dispute reasons very simply using multiple selections such as, the creditor name and account number, the inaccuracy, meaning the reason that you want it removed, and the outcome. And when you put it all together, it gives you the dispute reason. So let's go to the next one. So examples would be detailed, general, incorrect, and listed. Now, I would like you to go read this for yourself. Like I said, we are kind of plowing through this information because you will have access to it. And then once again, we have a dispute flow, just like we did previously, showing you reasons, challenges, and additional disputes versus rounds, such as date last active, date last paid, payment history, status update, and date of first delinquency. And then request for investigation would be your challenge, method of verification, notice of dispute, no investigation, and FCRA requirements. And then additional disputes would be collector validation of debt letter 1, and then second validation of debt letter and creditor direct letter section 623 letter 1, so on and so forth. And then this is the flow chart. This is very, very important. So you start obviously with round 1. If we started with date last active, it's going to show you how you should dispute if the response is verified, how you should dispute if there's no response, how you should dispute if they say they do not understand, and then what your round 2 tactic would be. Same thing with going forward. This is very, very important. And then you can access the dispute reason creator by clicking on this blue link, and it'll take you directly there. All right, so now because this was actually put into a YouTube video, if you need my help, very simply click on the link and you can connect with me and see if I could help. All right, so let's go to the second one. Now, we are also going to go through this quickly because this is kind of long and you can go through this all by yourself. There are videos here, so we're not going to go through them. And now this is actually from the power course that I was going to put out. These are flashcards. Now, it's basically how to use flashcards to learn how to do this. So these are downloads. You could download the first set of flashcards, download your biggest ammo flashcards, download the stacking worksheet, and then download additional worksheets. This is a video on using flashcards, and then understanding how to get from point A to point B, which is very important when you're first starting out and you don't know how to dispute. So these are just examples, and then all FICO factors show risk on this, and what the endpoint would be that you're actually wanting to go for. All right, so it actually shows you how to get there, right, from point A to point B, such as removing negative items that are hurting your credit, raising the score by removing negative items, adding positive trade lines, maintaining positive credit, and then achieving mortgage, car, loans, personal, business, right? This gives you a timeline on what you would more than likely be looking at and, the start to finish, and how many trade lines you should actually have and what they are to flesh out the credit report. And then this is kind of maybe what you want to ask your client: where do you want to be in 6 months? Where are you living? Where do your children go to school? What type of job do you have? How much money do you have? Et cetera, et cetera. That's why it's called credit crunch time. Now, how to read a report and where to get it, we've actually already gone over this, so I'm going to skip through this, and it's all pretty straightforward, exactly what I've already taught you. And then these are the things that you are like words to look for in a credit report: the anatomy of a dispute letter. It's always the same. Prioritizing negative items, public records such as bankruptcies, judgments, tax liens, and evictions, then student loans, then charge offs, then collections, inquiries, and personal information. And then where do your items fall? Right. And so this is something that you would be able to use to figure out how to help your clients. You can click on this blue link to get to my dispute reason hierarchy, and you can click on this to see the dispute reason examples. For any type of negative item, you automatically have 17 um, reasons automatically on how to dispute it. These are additional downloads for grabbing the 165 dispute reason list, the cheat sheet, the flow chart, the do you even know why you're disputing, the reinsertion letter, the new collections not on a credit report letter, the verified results and 3 requirements of a dispute letter, the don't dispute online, results of disputes, and inaccuracies versus violations. And there's also a video that goes with that. All right, so organizing. We have the tracking sheet, word processor, identity IQ membership, Airtable, and folder on a computer. And then deciding what to dispute. So, superficial files. One thing to keep in mind is that each file does not need to be pretty. All right. So, you're going to want to go and look at all of the stuff that I'm providing to you, because it took me a long time to create it, and I'm giving it to you in a short, packed crash course. But you need to go through and look at every single slide and download everything that I've given you, and you will know exactly how to get from point A to point B when it comes to learning how to do this as a beginner. All right, correcting, removing monthly payment, status update, date reported, and dispute tactics for factual disputes. Um, let's see, we have the 5-part video series. That's part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, mastermind tactics, and warnings. Things you should not dispute, things that you should not dispute, more things to think of, as well as my power project and recommended products. And that is the end of that one. All right, so you will also get the link to this one, beginning with a purpose, what's at the finish line, Sesame Street disputes that a 5th grader could understand. Now, you will find this in one of my free videos, but I'm giving it to you because it explains how to dispute. And this is actually going to show you, by putting everything onto a table, what's most important. Something that you should remember: that you don't need to dispute everything. You need to focus on what's going to raise the score. There's a priority. You need to have direction and map it out to make sense. Once again, we have what happens between, each round, how long you should wait. Bankruptcy, charge-off, collection, and late payments, starting with the big guns. Important things to remember. The cycle on sending out your disputes, waiting 30 days and comparing for results, and this happens every single time. Action notes. What you do if if you don't succeed, try again. Don't succumb to stall and scare tactics. Simple does it. And who do I? And then it goes bureaus, creditors, collectors. 15% off the dispute project. I'm not sure if that link is still live because I did move it. That's okay though. and I am no longer doing the beta tester, so you can just go past that. And that is it. You have a ton of stuff to work with here. You have a ton of stuff that you need to study, and you have a crap load of everything that you need to not only begin to work on a file and understand how to use it and dispute it and read it and all that kind of stuff, but you have a lot of advanced tactics at your fingertips now. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you do wonderful, great things with your clients' files. And I do have a consulting option or coaching option if you would like that as well. It is not my full blown, one-on-one coaching. However, uh, if you would like videos created specifically for you for very, very, very specific topics, please reach out to me and let me know, and I will give you a quote. That is it from me to you. Thanks for making it all the way to the end, and please go through and rewatch. Go through your links, go through the reports, and you will have everything that you need. Thanks, and good luck, and stay safe.